You're gonna need to give me. Oh no,
I don't have to. I'm
All right,
learning.
fine.
You're already recording, Max.
I know, but just for editing,
You'll cut it out.
just go whenever.
I'll just go now. Hey everybody, welcome to the Field Guys podcast, your source for the best sports mind since Freddie Kitchens. We are your hosts, Max Jensen and Curran, and today we are joined by our good friend, Austin Rawlins.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me on.
Sure thing. How's quarantine been treating you?
You know, it's been rough. It's pretty much since the beginning, since we got out of school, like a month and
It was
a half
March.
ago.
It was like March 20th, something like that.
Yeah, since then I have not been able to leave my house. We're practicing social distancing pretty heavy here, so
Very nice.
it's rough.
Well, I appreciate your daily updates.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I have a daily post of quarantines where I do random things. Right now I'm working on doing a backflip. We'll see how
How's
it
that
goes.
going?
Not good at all.
I saw you try
try
your back handspring earlier.
Yeah, that also didn't work.
That was bad. That was bad.
I didn't have a lot of space.
Yeah, you tried it indoors.
I did it outdoors last night. But
Well, practice makes perfect.
yeah,
You'll get it.
I could have pulled it off indoors. That's all I'm
I
saying.
doubt it.
Well, okay.
The benefits.
Okay, Cameron.
The benefits of being small. That's all
If
I'm
you
saying.
could do a backflip, you might be able to pull it off indoors.
Well, I'm at the All right. That's
But
today's main topic of discussion is going to be episodes 3 and 4 of the Last Dance docu-series. Before we start, make sure you subscribe if you aren't already and turn on notifications.
hit the like button, comment.
Yes, sir.
Like button.
Yes.
Before we get into the Last Dance, though, I want to ask Austin about his thoughts on the Dolphins draft.
You know, I loved it. You guys seem to not love it. From your, I saw your Twitter. I saw your Twitter post. You gave freaking our offensive lineman a D.
All right,
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
Not a mutual response, right there.
We got 3 offensive linemen in the draft, and another one we signed. We got Tua, which I love. I think people are hating on his injuries way too much. He doesn't need to run around to succeed in the NFL. We got that guy. No, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his last name. His name's Noah, but he's a great
corner?
man. Yeah, he's a great
His name
man
is
coverage.
Noah.
His last name's like 16 letters, and I'm not going to mess it up.
You got two and that guy.
And Noah, great man coverage guy, and we love running man coverage. Now we have 3 corners who can run man coverage.
Like 3 elite corners too.
Yes, 3 really good corners. We're going to have a great man defense this year. Then we got a safety. I forgot his name. Brandon something. And then we got like 3 more defensive tackles in the draft. Like, we're building from the inside, and we have a good defense set up. I think it was a fantastic draft. I'm very for once in my life, I'm very excited for the future of the Miami Dolphins.
Have you seen what the Patriots did though?
I don't like the Patriots draft very much.
I think
3 tight ends.
Exactly.
We drafted 2 tight ends and signed another one after the draft.
well, that sort of leads into my question, my secret question for you,
Okay.
Cameron.
Okay.
How do you feel about your Messiah leaving you,
Thomas?
Tom Brady? How do you feel about that?
Ooh.
Okay. I
And Gronk too. For what, like a
Gronk
first rounder?
Very true.
Gronk hurt. That one hurt.
Yeah.
Because I thought I read something where like he wasn't done with football, he was done with Belichick, which seems fair. I don't know if I can work for that guy.
Because Gronk and Bill Belichick are 2 completely different people. Like they're the polar opposites of personalities.
I can
Brady wasn't
100% see Gronk and Bruce Arians being best friends.
Oh yeah.
It suits him a lot better, I think.
But I mean, I can't imagine Thomas had too many fantastic years left. I honestly high-key wanted Garoppolo to take over like 3 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And we just kept going. We won like 2 Super Bowls though, so it's okay.
Well, what
Yeah,
did you wanted
whatever.
Brady to like
Whatever.
leave or just retire?
I wanted him to
He wasn't
retire.
good. He wasn't gonna retire.
I know he wasn't. But
It was.
it's,
I thought he was
And-
1 more year with the Patriots. You're done.
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
We're seeing something similar with the Packers, sort of forcing
yeah.
Rodgers out.
Yeah, they're letting him know his time's limited.
Yeah. I have I'm very passionate about that choice.
Anyways, this is the
this is all
podcast,
not related to
right.
the Last Dance docu-series.
But
I
this
think-
episode was kind of about Dennis Rodman, or kind of
Yeah.
focused on him, right?
I agree.
He's a very unique player. I guess that's one way to describe him.
He's definitely his own person.
Yeah. What do we think of him?
I
mean, you love him?
I love Dennis Rodman. he shows up, and he literally all he does is get 20 rebounds a game and lock the best player up on the other team. Like, that's all he does. Yeah. And outside of basketball, like, it never really affected his game enough for it to be a problem to me. So I say, dye your hair. Love Kim Jong-un. I don't care. Like, as long as you're getting me 20 rebounds a game and locking up the best player on the other team, I don't care.
Yeah. There's a crazy stat. I think it was like 6 times he got 20 rebounds in a game.
I think it was 7.
0 points.
That's crazy.
And
that's the sort of person you want on your team, especially if you have someone like Michael Jordan who will carry you in terms of points. You want that guy that's just going to be a rebound, whore almost.
Nice.
Yeah. What do you think, Cameron?
I mean, obviously he's one of the weirdest players in NBA history. Not only personally, but like just in terms of his style, he's one of the weirdest play styles in NBA history. I am skeptical about how weird he actually was. 'Cause what crazy things did he do besides wear makeup and dye his hair?
I mean, he has to go to Las Vegas to go on vacation.
His
but
that whole
stripper wife, Carmen Electra.
He did some crazy stuff.
He did.
I think he did a lot of stuff that was off the record that if he was in now,
oh yeah,
probably
all over everything.
Yeah,
but it feels almost like he kind of just he would play basketball, and then every now and again he would dye his hair and put on an eyeshadow and be like, "Hey, I'm crazy. Look at me."
So you don't think Dennis Rodman was?
I think he was very unique. I think he was a very, very unique guy. I just don't know if it's as dramatic as it was made out to be.
Well, did you see the clip where he walked out in his pajamas to practice? And the coach was like, "Man, what are you doing?" And then Jordan was like, "Well, you should just be happy to get him back." So the fact that he did something like that, I think that's a testament to how crazy he was.
Yeah, I mean, he walked out in his pajamas.
I doubt they show. I bet there was some stuff that they literally couldn't show because it was it'd be such a bad thing to show on television. I bet you there was stuff they never knew about that he did.
That's true. From what I saw, he's very eccentric, but none of it blew my mind.
I mean, he married himself. I don't think that was mentioned in the book, but he married himself.
That's just a power move.
He's a weird guy.
He is a weird guy. Overall, though, one of my favorite play styles of all time.
Yeah, I mean, he was talking about rebounding, and he just seemed like a super smart guy. When you think of Dennis Rodman, you might not think of a super smart dude, but the way he was talking about how he practices getting rebounds, he'll just have Jordan shoot and he'll just get every single rebound. He's a smart dude talking about backspin and different angles.
It seemed like he practiced rebounding like other players practice shooting.
Oh yeah,
which is a thing you don't see very often.
An interesting thing too, I noticed, or I saw in the docuseries, is he averaged 27 points a game in college, which means if you really wanted to, he could have averaged 15 a game probably in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
But he decided, okay, what am I really, really good at? I am good at rebounding the basketball. I'm going to do that to the best of my abilities, and I'm going to win championships.
Yeah,
that's just such a good mentality to have. Yeah, 5 championships.
Do you think he was a better fit on the bad boy Pistons or the Bulls? Because I feel like his personality really fit the Pistons.
I was going to say that
for that 4-year run.
I think personality wise, probably the Pistons, but play style he fits the Bulls pretty well.
Really?
I mean, it won
Yeah,
three
because
championships.
I think he fits the Bulls better because the Pistons had people like him, tough guys who play defense and rebound the ball
I see
well.
what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Rodman fit into the Bulls system because they didn't have someone like that was going to go grab 15, 20
Interesting.
rebounds a game for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think in terms of personality, that he was very Detroit bad boys.
Yeah, and I forget who
100%.
mentioned it, but someone was like, Rodman was really the player that pushed the Bulls over the edge and gave them that edge to really, go back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that, I mean, that brings me to my next point, which was, we talked about this a little bit last time we were talking about the docuseries, but Scottie Pippen, right, with 7 years, 18 million. Was his contract more, equally as, or less important, like significantly less important than Michael Jordan being there?
Cameron.
No.
It's Michael Jordan.
No, I know. But which brings me to the question. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying it's an interesting mind experiment, though, because I'm wondering, in your opinion, who is the least talented player you can replace Jordan with and still build, or players? Because when you have a player of that caliber, like Scottie Pippen, on you got him for free essentially. So you could pay like one other all-star and still have built an insanely impressive team. So I'm wondering, like, who is the least talented player they can replace Jordan with to still win?
To still,
like,
all right.
To still like have a dynasty. Maybe not like 6 championships in 8 years, but still have a dynasty.
There's one person or two people that I think could replace Jordan and still win 6 championships, and that's based off fit and like who they were as a player, and that's LeBron James and Kobe. I don't think anyone else can, because a center with their system isn't going to work. But I don't think any other person could win 6 championships and dominate like Michael Jordan did, because there's no players like that. There's no one that can score 30 points a game and play defense on the other end like Michael Jordan could. I don't think like a Clyde Drexler is going to win 6 championships with the Bulls. I really doubt that's going to happen.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Those were going to be my two. I really don't think anyone else, because you need an absolute scorer, right? And he has to be either a forward or a guard.
Yeah.
Most guards aren't like that kind of scorer. I think LeBron could definitely do it. And then I think Kobe could too.
Okay, so let me throw this at you. What if you put in like Oscar Robertson and Dwayne Wade?
Instead
you get
of
like
Scottie.
those instead of Michael Jordan. Because I feel like with Scottie Pippen's contract, you can still afford those 2 players.
Then you're making a super team at that point.
Well, yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You have Oscar Robertson at the 1, then you have Dwayne Wade, and then you have Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. I mean, I'd say with that team, you're winning 6 too.
Do you think without Scottie Pippen's contract, that dynasty lasts as long as it does?
I do.
I think it does as well.
Yeah. I think they re-sign him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he performs well, and then they re-sign him. And I think
they brought in players after they signed Scottie Pippen, though. So if they signed Scottie Pippen to like an actual contract, like the one he deserved, probably, like, can they afford to bring those players, and can they afford to bring in those assets that made this team a super team?
I think their first contract would last them throughout the first dynasty, or the first 3, and then after that, they probably just won't pay Michael Jordan the ungodly amount of money that they did, and just give Scottie Pippen a little bit more.
Yeah, I think MJ takes a pay cut at that point.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. And the base of the team is those 3 guys, and obviously there's some good surrounding pieces like Steve Kerr and a couple others. But really, you can throw a bunch of different guys in there and still have a dynasty. So I don't think Pippen's contract, like, I feel like they could still pay him a lot more money and then replace some of the lesser pieces with like maybe even lesser pieces and still win.
I think they'd still find people that would fit what they needed to do to win if they had Michael Jordan and Scottie and Dennis Rodman.
Yeah,
seriously.
Yeah.
So I have a big question I wanted to ask you guys. I didn't tell you what it was.
You didn't.
Oh yeah.
I asked you to build a top 10. It wasn't super researched, not too much scrutiny put on it, but your top 10 players of all time, no particular order. I think Austin, you put it in a particular order.
I put it in an order too.
I put it
Oh,
in
you put it in
order.
order. Okay,
I
did
want
not put it in
the
order.
people to know my order.
Yes.
I didn't put it in
It's
order.
very important.
So we all had MJ on there.
Yes.
Of course.
We all have LeBron.
Yes.
I assume we all have Magic.
Yes.
Yes.
We have Larry Bird on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. I have Wilt Chamberlain on there.
Yeah.
So do I.
Kareem.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Steph.
No.
You don't have Steph on
Absolutely
there?
not.
I have Steph on there 100%. But that's interesting. That's interesting. Now, this actually helps my argument. I have Steph on there.
Good.
I think just
Good argument.
I have Kobe on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Shaq on there.
Mm-hmm.
And my last one is Tim Duncan.
So I guess mine's just one difference.
What's your one different one, Max?
I have Karl Malone instead of Steph.
Okay, my one different one is Bill Russell.
Bill Russell, the only reason I have Steph on there is because he like single-handedly changed the way the game was played. But I respect the Bill Russell. I think Steph kind of needs to be on there just because of like the way he changed basketball.
I don't.
But
I think Kevin.
No, but this actually helps my argument.
Okay.
So who are your top five?
Austin, you go first.
All right, I'll go first. So I have Bill Russell 5, Kareem 4, Magic Johnson 3, LeBron 2, Michael Jordan 1.
All right.
Yeah.
Max, you.
I have Kobe 5, Chamberlain 4, Kareem 3, LeBron 2, MJ 1.
Okay. So overall, your top 10 players consisted almost entirely of like the older players, of the retro players. Like the only newer players you had on there were LeBron and Kobe, and then Tim Duncan-ish,
Mm-hmm.
right? So 7 out of your 10 or 8 out of your 10, I didn't count, are like from the older eras, from the 80s, 90s, even 70s, right?
Shaq is from the thousands too.
Yeah.
Shaq is from the 1000s, that's true. So how I think that a lot of times people glorify things as time passes, right? We tend to make things way better in our head. Like a lot of times my mom will be like, hey, let's all watch a movie together. I remember this movie being so amazing when I was a kid. And then she'll watch it. She'll be like, I do not remember this being like this weird or like this strange as a movie, right? So a lot of the people in sports media and a lot of the people that like raise us and give us our opinions grew up while MJ and Magic and Larry Bird were on their game, were at their prime. So they, I think, almost 100% glorify the careers of Magic and Larry Bird and Michael Jordan. Obviously, they had world-class careers, and they are arguably the greatest players of all time, and I think they are. That's why they're in my top 10. But currently, there seems to be like an agreement that Michael Jordan is the consensus number 1 player of all time.
Between us.
He's number 1 on my list as well. I just feel like worldwide, I don't hear too many arguments for LeBron over Michael Jordan.
Oh,
and if I do, it's mainly from younger players. But if you listen to like the older guys, it's all Michael Jordan. They all say Michael Jordan. So if you put LeBron in the Michael Jordan position and you have Michael Jordan playing now, is LeBron the consensus number 1 player of all time?
That's a hard question to ask. That's a really difficult question to ask.
Yeah.
I think, and when we grow up, I think LeBron becomes the consensus number 1 because now we're the ones who are able to watch LeBron in his prime and we say, hey, like this was our guy. He was our number 1.
I don't necessarily agree with that because with baseball, Babe Ruth is kind of like that number 1, and he played in like the 20s and the 30s, right? So that each generation, he's still that number 1 player. So I think MJ is not going to lose that number one spot as time goes on. Maybe if LeBron wins a couple more championships and, has a great end of his career, then maybe he loses that spot. I don't think he loses it just because, our generation is going to be the sports media. I don't think.
I've always said if LeBron got to like 4 or 5 championships, I'd reconsider my thoughts on it, because I'm not worried about the 6-0 undefeated thing. I think it's impressive that LeBron got to as many as he did, and if he won nearly as much as Michael with all the statistical achievements he has, like individually, then it's a consideration. But just Michael Jordan winning 6, I can't.
So
I was the other way.
I was listening to I was watching Colin Cowherd, and he had on this guy named Ahmad Rashad, and he was referenced in the docuseries, like very briefly. And he's an NBA ambassador right now. He was a very close friend of Michael Jordan while he was playing. And he was asked, like, at what point he knew that he was, like, in the presence of greatness. And, like, at what point, like, he was like, okay, this is an all-time thing that I'm experiencing. And his response to it was, and he experienced, like, he was completely submerged in this life. And he says, I never really had this moment where I knew this was the greatest player of all time. It was kind of just in the moment, and I knew he was a really good basketball player, and I knew he was famous. But there was never a moment where I thought to myself, hey, this guy is the greatest of all time. But as time went on, he became the greatest of all time, right? So I think what happens is when we're in the moment, we kind of just think to ourselves, hey, this guy is really good at basketball. I wonder what happens down the line. And then 20 years in, we start thinking to ourselves, hey, this guy was probably the greatest of all time. Let's make him that. So I think that if they switch eras, I think if LeBron switches eras, there are at least more arguments for him being the greatest of all time. He might not be the general consensus, but he seems to be, I think he is more widely regarded as a candidate for the greatest of all time.
I think another thing you need to consider is LeBron is a lot bigger and stronger than Michael Jordan. And the two different types of basketballs that were played, they were very different, right? We saw the Pistons and what they were doing. It was a lot more physical. So maybe if you do put LeBron in that era of basketball, then he does do a little better. But that's a whole different segment that we could go on.
I disagree with Cameron's point of people at least in the present not realizing that Michael Jordan was the greatest of all time. Because, like, an example in the docuseries, Larry Bird, when Michael Jordan, like, it was his second season in the first round against the 86 Celtics, who some would argue are the greatest team of all time, dropped 63 points, and Larry Bird literally calls him God in disguise. I think they realized at the time that they were in the presence of something special, and I think after the second season, once Michael Jordan hit his third season, I think everyone knew he was the best player in the league by a pretty wide margin, to be honest, especially after beating Magic Johnson in the finals. They just realized this guy is at such a different level than everyone else. Like, the Pistons literally made rules for him as a player. They knew how great he was, that they had to literally put all their focus on him just to stop him because he was such a great player.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really come to a conclusion on it. And I think, like, obviously, I recognize how good Michael Jordan was. I have trouble saying he's the greatest of all time just because I never got to watch him in real life. I understand his achievements and I understand his statistical achievements. It's weird for me to agree that someone's the greatest of all time when I didn't get to watch him in person.
That happened with me. Like, after I saw LeBron win the 2016 finals, like, I made like a snap decision. I was like, okay, LeBron's the GOAT now. Because I watched one of the greatest basketball moments of my life happen with him leading it. And I was just like, this is insane. Like, this guy is so good. There's no way he's not better than someone I've never seen. But after a while, like I looked back at it and I looked at total careers and everything, and I went back to Michael Jordan as my number one guy.
Yeah, and it's different watching gameplay in real time versus with the highlights and the people talking over it.
100%.
Like when you see like the highlights of Michael Jordan going like up and around with music playing in the background and everyone's cheering, that kind of stuff, and they're only showing you the times he makes it, it's different from when you're watching LeBron in real time and he has like a 56% field goal percentage, and a lot of it was mid-range jumpers. So it's interesting to think about how the time period and who has like the biggest say in sports media in general affect like who we decide is the greatest of all time.
I do think you're onto something though, because in most sports leagues, you have to wait like 5 years after the end of their career for them to be eligible for a Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're right. And you see this a lot with movies too, where over time people sort of appreciate things more and more, and like, oh, this movie's now a classic. Like Parasite was a good movie. That might become a classic, but I feel like that'll be another, 20 years. So I do think you're onto something, but also the fact that we are comparing Michael Jordan to LeBron James might I don't know how to say this, but I'll cut this out. I'll cut it out. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that.
But I also think so. You also mentioned this earlier, how you said LeBron is like bigger and stronger. That's not how he plays though. Like Jordan's always been more of a, I feel like drive. No, but like, so Jordan's always been like he's really solid mid-range shooting and drive to the hoop up and in. I feel like LeBron's always been a better overall shooter just in terms of his range. Like Michael Jordan's only good three-point shooting year was when they moved the line in for a year, and then they moved it back out and went back to being like.
I don't think that's a fair comparison, because Michael Jordan in college he didn't even have a 3-point line.
Right. So their playing styles are very different, and I think if you put LeBron into Michael Jordan's era, does he play the way Jordan played? Like, is LeBron more driving to the hoop? Yeah. Does LeBron play more? Okay, so if LeBron is a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger and a little bit faster, do we think, oh, he's better? If he's playing with Michael Jordan's style, and he is, I think LeBron probably is a little bit stronger and faster just because we have more advanced training. Do we say to ourselves, hey, this guy's really good and he might be a little bit better than Jordan?
Yeah, I think because Michael Jordan didn't start weightlifting until like the middle of his career. So I think
it was like his fourth year, his second loss to the Pistons, and he was like,
"Yeah,
these guys are beating the crap out of me. I got to do something."
Yeah, but we've progressed so far in sports medicine that maybe we can't compare the strength of LeBron to the strength of MJ, because weightlifting is now such a big part of the NBA, and it wasn't back in MJ's era.
Yeah.
So,
because if you gave LeBron James, if he was born in like 1968 and then came into the NBA, I think he's a different player than if you were just like, all right, we're gonna plug 21-year-old LeBron and he's gonna be a rookie.
Right.
And like 21-year-old LeBron from now, he's going to be a rookie. I think he's a different player because he's grown up in a much better time period.
For sure.
This is a little bit of a tangent, but have you guys ever seen the 30 for 30 about the Bad Boy Pistons?
I haven't.
Okay. So it was released a few years ago, but I remember it used to be my favorite 30 for 30. That and 4 Days in October about the Red Sox, and such a good documentary.
Wonder why
they had the 2 championship years, and the part of the documentary where they get to that 3rd year where they're going back to the Bulls in the year that the Bulls finally beat them, they're interviewing Isaiah Thomas, and he says, going into that series, something was just different. Something was just off. We didn't have the same energy. And they ended up losing. And then you watch the Bulls, you watch The Last Dance, and Michael Jordan saying, I was just working, and I put all this work into it. And I think it's interesting to see the 2 different perspectives where the Pistons probably went into it thinking they were going to win. And then they lost, and he's saying, oh, something was just off. And then Michael Jordan's coming into it saying, I've lifted, I'm going to beat the hell out of these guys, and he wins. And it's the 2 different perspectives of the Pistons finally losing and saying to themselves, oh, well, it was just off. It was an off year for us.
Yeah. I think Isaiah Thomas saying after the fact something is off is not true. I think Michael Jordan beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to admit that Michael Jordan destroyed them.
Yeah, he also did the whole like not shaking hands thing, and like after the fact, he was like, "That's just how it was."
It was.
I know. That's what I'm
he
saying.
hated Michael Jordan.
They were just awful people.
Yeah, they're gonna say after the fact that there was this rationale or this thing happened, but at the time, I think Michael Jordan did say in the documentary, like the Pistons and the Bulls, they hated each other. They wanted to destroy each other. Like there was no niceness between them. That's for sure.
And another thing, when we compare like the 2 different eras, is there a rivalry like as strong as that Bulls Pistons rivalry now? Because I feel like when we think of really strong rivalries, we're thinking like older times. Right.
Well, because
not as many rivalries right now.
No one hates each other.
Yeah,
everyone's so nice now.
Yeah, everyone just play like 2K
so the
with
brands
each other.
like them, so that they're more. Yeah, they're more brand. It's literally for brands, so they can make more money. Like if you're a jerk and like calling other people like names and like saying bad stuff about them, like no one's gonna want to like talk to you or brand you as their person.
Yeah, but honestly, that's entertaining.
No, 100%. I would love to see LeBron and Steph Curry get in a fist fight.
No.
Of course, nowadays with the rules, they both get like 2-year suspensions.
Yeah.
Back then, it was just another Tuesday.
To see LeBron just wail on Curry though,
or like LeBron versus Draymond.
Is it worth it?
Who hasn't want to see LeBron and Draymond Green throw hands? Like how great would that be?
Draymond Green just
awesome.
I don't want to see Draymond Green fight back. I just want to see him just get destroyed.
Wow.
That guy bothers me.
What's your dream NBA basketball fighting matchup? What do you think the best fight in the world would be?
Like current era only, or like all time?
You could go current era if you want.
I'll go current era.
Ooh, that's a good question.
All right,
I think Steven Adams got to be in the conversation.
Oh, Steven Adams.
That's a good call. I was not thinking about Steven Adams.
Steven Adams versus Shaq. No, Shaq wins.
Shaq wins. All right,
Shaq wins every time.
Shaq is the undisputed champion.
Yeah. Let's get it. All right, I'm gonna give you Shaq and Russell Westbrook. Okay. Going up against.
Oh, it's okay.
Shaq and Russell Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook is getting curb stomped.
Going up against, we'll say, Steven Adams and Yanni Vowles. All right.
Giannis Valanciunas?
No, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So who's winning that one?
I think Giannis picks up and throws Russell Westbrook, and then they just double team Shaq. And I don't think Shaq's winning against those two.
I think Russell Westbrook is scrappy. I think he can hold his own.
He's 6'2".
That's because
he is 6'2". But I think he's definitely playing dirty though. He's like going for the eyes.
Interesting.
I don't think I don't think his pride would allow him to go dirty.
He goes dirty all the time, like in game. Not like breaking people's knees, but he'll like
Draymond.
Yeah, he's not like Draymond. Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, okay, you're gonna trade those two.
All right.
Next podcast, we're doing a March Madness bracket style. People fighting.
All right, we're just people destroying each other. Who's the best fighter in the NBA? Ooh, how does Yao Ming do?
Yao Ming versus Shaq.
Yao Ming versus
Right.
Shaq still winning.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
okay. How about
Yeah.
versus Russell Westbrook?
Say
Versus
Yao Ming versus Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
Yao Ming is 16 inches taller.
I know, but higher center of gravity.
Russell Westbrook wouldn't even be able to reach Yao Ming's face. Actually, he would. He'd just jump up. He's got hops.
He's got hops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but Yao Ming literally could just grab him and just pick him up. And Russell Westbrook
good
wouldn't even be
point.
able to reach him.
Well, this has
Yeah.
been very valuable to the
I think
conversation.
It has.
I think Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace would be the greatest.
Ben Wallace would
person.
be good.
He would
Over
be the
Shaq?
closest to beat. He want to beat Shaq. He'd lose to Shaq.
Oh.
If Shaq got
But-
mad, no one's beating Shaq.
But he has like the best chance of beating Shaq.
I think he has the best combination of anger and strength to
Okay.
beat
So,
Shaq.
yeah. All right.
I don't know. I'm
Sounds
going
good.
Isaiah Thomas is the best fighter.
5'9" one or
Yeah, for sure.
JJ Barea? That's my guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, dude. Isaiah Thomas, the really short one, versus Kemba Walker. Who are you taking?
I'd say
both
Isaiah
like-
Thomas. Dude,
they're both
Isaiah
like
Thomas
5'10".
is like big. He's bulky, but like you don't really notice it
Yeah.
because he's 5'9". But
I've never looked for it. It's kind of like me, just yoked.
you're short. That's all you are.
And you are not jacked.
Okay. Well, this has been fun.
Good talk.
That was
Yeah.
a good way to.
That was definitely very valuable to the overall message
Oh, yeah.
of the episode.
It's
Oh,
very important in our
definitely.
episode 3 and 4
Including
breakdown to
fighting.
know if Isaiah
Yeah.
Thomas or Kemba Walker would win in a fight.
Yeah.
So that was our MJ docuseries breakdown. Now, as always, we're gonna head into our musical recommendations
Yes.
for the week.
Very important.
Max, I'll let you go first this time.
All right. So I have two. Both of them aren't super popular. Probably around like the 100,000s in monthly listeners. But I'm going for my first one, Black Wave. They're a duo. I think they're English. I could be wrong. They're definitely in some European country. Maybe it's Sweden. I'm not sure. But they got some good stuff. And my other one is Reggie Snow, who's sort of that jazzy rap, almost sort of chill. I like him a lot.
Interesting. My two. One of them is a repeat, but I think it's a repeat. I'm not positive. I feel like it is though. But this one, I wanted to double down on this because I'm very confident about this one. The first one is a new one. It's Talib Kweli. He's a bit older. Did a lot of stuff with Kanye and MF Doom, and he does some stuff with Anderson .Paak. He has a lot of stuff. He has like 16 albums, and they're all like longer than an hour. It's insane. But he is very smooth, chill kind of stuff. If you're trying to get into him, first song I'm gonna recommend is 9.5. It's a very chill song, and if you don't like that, you're probably not gonna like a lot of his other stuff. But if you like it, you'll really be into him. And my second one, which I believe is the repeat, is Earth Gang. Love Earth Gang. They're this duo. They're part of the Dreamville. What am I looking for? Coalition. I'm sticking with that. That's my word. They have a lot of really good stuff. It ranges from chill, like Sunday vibes, to really upbeat pre-tournament bangers. Love Earth Gang. You should check them out. Austin, you have any?
So mine, I have one specific album that I would like people to listen to, and then I'll just start with that. So Kanye West, the Graduation album,
Okay.
is my personal favorite album of all time. Every single song on there is an absolute banger. Check that out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And my second thing, which is an interesting one, is the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack.
Retro.
I'm hip to
Okay,
that.
Austin.
If you want to get into 70s music, listen to this soundtrack. It's basically a crash course on all the big 70s artists and songs. Just listen to that, and you'll understand what it was like to be in the 70s.
We're talking volume 1, right?
Yes, Volume 1. Volume 2 is good too.
Very
I love Volume 2, but I think Volume 1 is amazing.
Oh,
I'd say watch the movie first so you can really appreciate it, and then listen to the songs. And I promise.
I love how you just made that blanket statement. You'll know what it was like to be in the 70s.
You won't know what it's like. You'll get the vibes of the 70s.
It brings you back.
Yeah, it brings me back to the 70s.
Personally,
when I was alive. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well,
thank you so much for tuning in today.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun.
Loved having you on.
I guess we'll be on probably Saturday for the next podcast. I guess until then, we'll see you later.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.
See you.